So let's go on and get into these albums, man. And let's start off with we only gonna talk about two. I thought like it was two good albums that really like came out this past week, and I'd rather get into those and dive into those than next week. Hopefully we have a more fuller slate where we can actually dive into a couple other songs. If not, guess what? We already got some other stuff playing in the background that we'll go revisit and make sure we do. We're gonna put you on a quality podcast. But back to it. This week we had Joey Badass returning. This was his epic return after like I think it was 5 years.
5 years. 5 years. Yeah, he said it on the record.
American with the American Badass album, and that one had a lot of high political tones, and I was very interested to see the direction that he was going to go on this one. Of course, we had a couple singles out there, but was he going to still continue on that little drive, or did he switch it back and go back and find the old flow and push it forward? So Cash, Joey Badass returns with the 2000 nice follow up. If you remember the album 1999, I think he was trying to break you from that American Badass little thing and make you think of that, and this was the sequel. What was your thoughts?
Initial thoughts is thank you for evolving. That's it. You know what I mean? Because now the features are on there. All right. You got Diddy coming in there, not Diddying things up, but just doing what you want Diddy to do. If y'all listen to music and y'all know how Diddy could come on sometimes and fuck up a song, or Diddy can come on and add that right sauce to it, and just doing what Diddy does. So once he had Diddy on there, you know what I mean? And then Make Me Feel. Oh, the production. I mean, before I even begin anything on here, the production on this shit was fire. And, half of it was done by Static Selector, which I found to be quite... I'm not the biggest fan of Static Selector, you know what I'm saying, in terms of his production or stuff, that maybe it's the artist that he worked with, you know what I mean? Some of them I like, some of them I don't, but like I don't typically say, oh, let me point out the Static Selector production and let me go listen to it because Static's on there, and whatever artist he's with, I know at least I'm going to get fire beats. I'm not saying I'm not familiar with him, but he doesn't just do that for me. He doesn't make me go to that said artist, you know what I mean? But in this instance, these beats that he had on there, boy, like he was smoking it, man. Especially right out the gate, Make Me Feel, the second song on the project. I'm not looking at each and every one right now, but I know he did the Make Me Feel joint, and I was like, okay, that's a nice flip. We've heard Make Me Feel flipped, whether we heard it, on a major label project or not. But I like that flip and what he went with like the normal, the verses portion. You know what I mean? He didn't lean on the Make Me Feel. You know what I mean? He just kept it in the hook, slightly switched it up a little bit, but just good enough to where it's familiar with what we know that song to be. So I thought that was dope. And then you just kind of go along where I belong. Brand new 911. In this instance, I steal a page out of your book, Prez. This is where Westside Gun comes in. Sprinkle it in on the features. Maybe not necessarily for a full length album, but this is where Westside Gun shines. You know what I'm saying? His verse was memorable. Didn't say a whole lot of anything. It's just more so of the presence on there for me. Cruise Control, commercial. Some may say I like commercial done well. That's me. I'm not the boomity bap guy that sticks in one lane. If it's done well and it's fly and you could ride around to it. And then as you kind of go on into the album, Prez, like that's what the album was for me. It was a good mixture of balance up and down. Soon as he gave us too many slow songs, he'd give us a little hype one, or he'll give us a little one that has a familiar feel with a sample or something like that. And I think it was well put together in terms of what he was doing. He dived into stuff that went, how he was feeling with Steez, and that was on the Survivor's Guilt. Also like Head High. And last but not least, just the features, man. The features.
Okay, yeah.
Features were really good. There was
one in particular that I thought that you was definitely going to hit home about.
Oh, who? Jid?
Larry June.
Oh man, he came on there smooth as hell, man. Larry June came on there smooth as hell. Like I said, man, I enjoyed it. I ain't want to Larry June out everybody on here, but I mean, but even Chris Brown and Capella Gray, like even them, like that's a nice little smooth joint on there, and then it fits Joey. It fits him. You know what I mean? Like it's not the other way around. I don't feel like I see Joey doing we've seen it with other artists, right? To where we say, oh, this just sounds like this person's record, but you're on it and it's on your album. But it seemed like a good mixture. And then it's like, oh shit, Joey could really do these type of records and make good songs. So I enjoyed it, from top to bottom. And I could tell you, I wasn't really clamoring for a Joey Badass album. I respect what Joey does. I rock with his music, and I like kind of the stuff he's been sprinkling out there before the project dropped. But all in all, man, like this has a lot of replay value on it. I went into this with open ears and just trying to check it out, see what he's up to. But he's growing, man, especially from the last album, like you said, Politically Charged, up until now, 1999 and then 2000. Like if you listen to 1999, skip the middle, some of the other stuff and kind of go to this, the growth is tremendous, man. And I like what he's talking about. He's talking about grown man shit, things that I'm going through in life and he's going through in life, and you're seeing the growth. You know what I mean? So it's relatability. So all in all, dope project. I highly encourage you guys to go listen to it.
Cash, I don't think I need to add anything else to that. I think you said everything perfectly about the album. I'm a fan of it. I was looking forward to this album. I've been downloading everything that he had since then. I think I put it, what was it, the Light Pack or whatever it was. He had an EP about a year and a half ago. I remember I was championing that as well. I said that was a great EP when it came out. Joey has just been that type of artist to me, where he always, since he came out, they demanded that type of presence, and then I feel like he's only grown up now. He had some the time where I don't think he was feeling it artistically as far as like rapping. I think that's kind of how he kind of go in some of these songs and stuff like this, how he want to step away and stuff like this, and he explain himself. But I'm glad that he stuck with it. I'm glad that he still has the love for it. And I'm glad that he's continued to put out good music. I appreciate him going back to that style and, kind of bringing it even more to the forefront. I think he hones that New York boom bap type of sound. I think he's one of the best doing it at this point in time. So 2000, loved it. See how I continue to play. This is our initial listen. I want to see how it's going to wind up after our quarterly review or what else coming out. But I think this got crazy replay value. It will probably be in my rotation. It's when I talk about hip hop, this is like what I'm like, this is the home for me, home base for hip hop and that type of vibe for me.
And that goes to show you, man, like what I was thinking is like, yo, this is where if you say hip hop, right, or boom bap, and that always has a negative connotation, right, with it. When you say boom bap, like it's just something less than kind of like underground. I feel like that, but this is done when it's fly, when the beats are dope and it has like different grooves. I'm not comparing it to Life After Death or anything Nas has done, but like they've done albums like this to where it's just like some smooth shit all the way through. Tap into a few different areas, you know what I mean? But you have the R&B artists in a Capella Gray or a Chris Brown. You have the rappers on there in a Jid or a I won't even say Larry June. I mean, just you have the right mix on there. You have West Side Guns. You have a good mixture, and you have the little skits in there. So this it can be done to where it don't have to be boring. It don't have to be so grimy and gritty. It can have a little bit of polish on it. And I think that they threaded that line perfectly. So pleasant surprise for me in terms of not expecting something and just checking it out to, you know, kind of because when we review these things, Perez, I go back to it, and sometimes it's a chore to go back to said album because I want to speak on it, you know, with actual listener ears and not just because I have to. So some albums are a chore, some weeks more than others. You know what I mean? To get back to. And I know.
I need you to name it. Name that album. Which ones are chores to you, Cash?
Shoot, I can probably go back and tell you, man. That Rowdy Rebel was a chore that we just went through last week. That was tough to get through. What's the last one? Last one that was hard, but the album wasn't bad, was Lupe. Just because I had to, you got to sit down and break it down. And Lupe is one of those guys that warrant you to sit down and pay attention. But listening to it before we came on, I was like, man, I'm not in the mood for this. You know what I mean? But it's a mood thing. You know what I mean? And then you got Logic. Logic was another one. Vinyl, like just in recent memories, to where it's like, damn, this is so much music. I know this dude could rap, but
I don't know, man. I'm falling in and out of love with Logic music as of late. You know what I mean? Ever since Bobby Tarantino, I think 2, like I ain't really been in love with his music as much. You know what I mean? But that's for another day. We'll talk about that another day. I appreciate it. I ain't think you were gonna be honest and name out the albums that you kind of wasn't feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't feeling them. The only one I would say that I'm not coming back to is the Logic for sure. Even though there were some songs I took off the playlist, but by and large, it was just, it's a lot of music. And
I don't know who asked for it. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. So it is what it is. Rap his ass off, can rap circles around lots and lots of people. No
Quit
disrespect.
lying to me. You said you retired. Stay your ass retired. You're retired in my eyes.
But yeah, Lupe will eventually get back to that in a real way, or that'll be a bonus episode. But Lupe, you can't just digest by a weekend. So it is what it is. And I'm a super fan of Lupe once I get into the music, but I gotta listen a few times.
That album was like a weekend. He said he did it in like 3
so why should I spend why should I spend longer? Why should I spend longer than 2 days listening to it? All right.